Hi guys, Erin from VixenDaily, and today I'm going to talk about reasons men don't text back. Okay, so guys don't text back for a variety of reasons, but there's one common theme that seems to show up again and again. Now, I'm not trying to be offensive. I fully understand why this ends up happening and why women do this, but guys don't text back because most women end up breaking a man's brain. Okay, so I'm going to explain what that means. Don't worry, but everything's going to make sense. Now, that is not always the case. Don't get me wrong. There is a very legitimate possibility that you're going to fall into the first category because there are different categories when it comes to why a guy's not texting back. So let me clarify something. You might wonder what the exact reason is that he's not texting you back, right? Is it that he hates you? Is it that he's cheating? Is it that he's lost interest? Is it that he is sad? Is it that he's not sure about your relationship? Is it that he doesn't care about you enough? Is it that the last fight you had rubbed him the wrong way? Is it that you said something you probably shouldn't have said when you were drunk and, you're afraid that you scared him off? Is it that you mentioned something about the future and tried to pressure him into commitment, but then you regretted it immediately after and were terrified that you sent the text and therefore him not responding means he hates you? Is it that he's broke his phone? Is it that he's been kidnapped by aliens? As you can see, there are a million different reasons why a guy is not texting back. But the good news is there are less categories, and these are very important to know. The categories are what you need to focus on, not the reasons, because all the reasons pretty much fall into one of these categories. So let's get into reason number one. Reason number one is he's genuinely busy. So this means that you have nothing to worry about. Basically, he's busy with something in his own life. He read the text, he processed it, but he simply didn't have the time to respond. Or he genuinely feels no need to respond, but there's no personal thing that he has against you. It's not like he's upset. He wants to respond. He just didn't respond at that moment, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't like you or doesn't want to hang out with you. So the first category is essentially, don't worry, he simply didn't respond, whether he's busy or he just didn't respond at that moment for whatever reason, but things are okay. So he still wants to see you, he still likes you, things are completely okay. Men often don't respond to a text message when there's no real reason to respond back. And also, he could be busy doing 100 things, watching a football game, checking his Instagram, getting a haircut, whatever he does, working, hanging out with his friends, showering. He could be doing a million different things, but never assume the worst because it really might be that everything is fine. So let's get to the next category. Reason number two. Reason number two is essentially your text was not pleasant. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we've all been guilty of this at one point in our lives. So an unpleasant text is complaining, nagging, something accusatory. So this is a really important thing to really understand. Being accusatory means that you are implying that he has done something wrong by not texting you back. He has wronged you and he's a bad person and a bad man for not responding. Being desperate and needy is being urgent about needing him to respond. So the telltale of this is that you send a bunch of texts in a row, or you send him a lot of question marks and don't understand why he's not responding. So you keep sending more and more, and you're kind of talking to yourself in the text messaging thread. So that's a bad thing to do. The desperation will come off through your text. Next, moving too fast. Now, remember, all this falls under the text not being pleasant. So in some way, the text was not pleasant, and these are different things that cause an unpleasant sensation for him. So you are trying to move too fast. So maybe you just met him and sure, you guys like each other, but you kind of want to press the relationship and take it forward and, secure things, or you want to just push him into doing something you want. And you send him a text that is scary to him because maybe he doesn't want to move that fast yet. So he doesn't know how to reply because he's not on the same page. Doesn't mean he doesn't like you, but he's kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? So if you've sent him a text about the future or how you want to be married or something implying that you should take things further or something where you're really pushing for things to get to a certain level, then that could be why he hasn't responded. The next unpleasant category is frantic texts and paragraphs that put pressure. So men don't want to deal with frantic, hysterical energy. Now, I'm not saying that you're hysterical. I'm not accusing it or saying that you're causing any bad emotions. All I'm saying is this is the truth about men. Whether you like it or not, this is how most men are. Most men don't respond well to a barrage of frantic energy in a text, and it puts pressure on him to deal with a problem. So if you just keep bombarding and saying, hey, what's up? And then he doesn't reply, oh, wow, well, that's really great. Thanks a lot. I'm actually having a meltdown right now, and I really needed to talk to you. So, wow, thanks. You're actually a jerk. I never imagined you would be so vicious. Then you send that. Then he doesn't reply. Then you send another text. Wow, that's really great. Now I see the truth finally. You're active on Instagram too. F you. That's hysterical, intense emotional energy. And a lot of women will end up in a spiral where he still won't respond and you just keep digging and digging and digging a hole. You might just put your phone down and not want to look at it and try to pretend it's not happening, but deep down you're waiting for that ding sound. But honestly, you need to stop digging the hole. There is no time like the present to stop. So just stop texting if that's what you've been doing. I know, I understand, but trust me, this is for your own best interest. So the third major category is that he has lost interest. So this is kind of a bad news category. He could have completely lost interest, and something along the way of your dynamic with him showed him that he is not interested, and it's the truth that you should face could be a possibility. Not saying this is the case, but it could be his subtle way of basically heavily implying that he's not interested. So don't text him a bunch hoping he'll respond, because if he's not interested, nothing will make him interested, and texting him a bunch certainly will not. So now I want to talk about a few examples of bad texts to kind of give you a clear picture of what we're discussing. Bad texts, bugging with a bunch of texts in a row. I already mentioned this, but I just want to review because that is one huge red flag that men automatically instinctually react to. The barrage, 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 barrage. How dare you, the barrage. Do not do the barrage. Please do not. For your own sake, trust me, it is not a good idea. It'll make him automatically group you in to a segment of women that he considers crazy, quote. And it's not fair, it's not nice, but it honestly is what most men do view women who do the barraging as. Definitely do not stalk on social media either. Trust me, I get it, but it's not gonna help you. So the next example of a bad text is a boring text. Now, being boring is much better than the barrage, but it's still a reason that he wouldn't respond. So a boring text is, I'm bored, what's up? I mean, it's okay by itself, but the tricky part is if he does not reply, a lot of women tend to say, whoa, why is he not replying? And then have all of these ideas how to follow up. Now, remember I mentioned that you can break a man's brain, right? So the follow-up is where you break a man's brain and solidify him not replying to you. Does this sound like a brand new weird concept? Probably, but I think that you will actually have a lot better insight into him not texting back when you really understand this. So imagine a man's brain can break, okay? So there's a process on the way to breaking. It doesn't just break immediately. And the key here is you break a man's brain where he will go from being on the fence about not replying. So if you send a boring text, for example, it's not like he's gonna say, I hate this girl, she's insane. He won't say that. He just won't respond. It'll be a genuinely innocent action, no motive, no hatred, nothing malicious, nothing certain, right? Because you're still in the process of figuring stuff out. Or maybe if you're in a relationship, he's just not responding for whatever reason, right? But when you absorb that frantic energy and start to follow up with something totally out of left field, what he will view as an imaginary, accusatory, quote, insane, and I say this in quotes because I'm not saying this is insane, but this is what most men often do view this style of texting. So it'll be something out of left field in the text messages after he does not respond. That's when the brain kind of goes beyond the point of no return and it breaks. Texting is a way you can break a man's brain, cause him to simply pretend that you're not texting him, put his phone away, not deal with it, and just completely ignore. That is the honest to God truth. And I'm not saying this to be rude or anything like that. I am honestly trying to help you. Men don't like dealing with hysteria and emotional intensity. A barrage of texts will only make him feel uncomfortable and literally shut down his mind when it comes to the idea of replying. Why would he want to deal with the series of problems created by the text? It breaks his brain, and the more you text frantically, the worse it becomes, quite frankly. And some guys have a higher threshold than others. If you're texting a guy who is very susceptible to his brain breaking with the texting, then you really want to consider being in a positive mood. In fact, being in a positive mood when you text is always the best option. But that is covered in a bunch of other videos. I'm really trying to focus right now on the reasons why guys don't text back so you can fully understand this and the process of his brain breaking. So let me give you an example of how to break a man's brain, or at least ignite the process. So let's say a guy says, can't talk right now, busy. And then the girl responds, oh, okay. And then sends another text. I'm free whenever, just tell me when you want to chill. And then no response from him. Are you there? Then no response from him. Wow, that's really rude of you. You could just let me know you didn't want to talk to me. ... So it's not really broken yet, but the brain is starting to break for most men. For some men, they'll be like, whoa, red flag. Others, they might be like, okay, she's just being cute. She's interested. There's only so much cuteness, though, that he's going to take, and it's going to get old real fast. So trust me, you want to avoid sending that type of barrage as much as you possibly can. Another example of how to break a man's brain. You don't know how upset I am right now. I thought you were going to call me back. I believed you. What a fool I am. Shame on me. Never speak to me again. Seriously, delete my number. That's the dramatic histrionic text. So that's basically saying, I want you to text me back. You better not delete my number. How dare you treat me like this, etc., etc. It will send red flags. Now, if you're already dating him, you're going to have a harder time of breaking his brain, which is good. You don't want to break his brain. If you're already in a relationship, you will be less likely to break his brain. But even if you are in a relationship, don't take it for granted. If you continue this pattern of barrage, accuse, why would you want to be with someone that was constantly doing that to you? How would you feel? I guess you might be saying, well, I'd actually like if he texted me like that. At least he's responding. At least he shows he cares. Men view it differently. Most men, some men do respond well to this, but very rarely. And it is very old, very fast. So even if he does respond well or pretends to respond well because he likes you enough to pretend, it will get old. Trust me. So I really hope that you learned something from this, and I hope that you actually can breathe and just relax. Don't view texting as something bad. Have a good energy behind your text, because the exact energy you feel is going to be what he feels. So I want you to always try to just be positive, and if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, and definitely never do the barrage, because you will break his brain. And when you boom, 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 boom too many times, he will develop a really different idea of you. And even if it's false, that's what the problem is here. You are probably a great, amazing person, so many good qualities, but the breaking of the brain will make him view everything else in a different lens. So you don't want to do it. It'll really, really, really be a bad thing for your relationship or budding relationship. And finally, like I say in all my videos, I want you to have the kind of love life that you really want. I put a link to the full article on this topic in the description, and you can check out VixenDaily.com to get real world answers to just about any love advice question you have, so you're never confused by men or relationships ever again. And if you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And for more videos like this, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Okay, bye.